What's going on, everybody? Sports Player 2.0 Daniel here. And guys, we went 4-1 in the NHL, 4-2 in the NBA, and 9-6 in the MLB. So we had a great day in the NHL, only getting one wrong out of 5, which is good. In the NBA, we went 2 games over 500, which is really good. Not really good, but good. And in the MLB, we went 3 games over 500, which is good. So we had a good day the last time we did pick'ems. So let's move on to tomorrow's games. I'm only doing regular season games because I already gave you my picks for the Stanley Cup playoffs. So this is the only game. Flames versus the Canucks. The Flames come in at 24, 26, and 3, and the Canucks come in at 22, 28, and 3. The last game for the Calgary Flames, they won 4-1 versus the Vancouver Canucks. And look at that, they're playing the Vancouver Canucks, and the Vancouver Canucks, their last game, they won 4-1 versus the Edmonton Oilers. And the likely starters for this game is Jacob Markstrom for the Calgary Flames, and Braden Holtby for the Vancouver Canucks. And the Calgary Flames are a favorite in this one. Give me the Flames to win this game on the road in Vancouver. And that does it for the NHL. Let's move on to the NBA. The Celtics are going to New York to face the Knicks. The Celtics come in at 36 and 35, and the Knicks come in at 40 and 31. I'm going to go with the Knicks here. Give me the Knicks to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Indiana Pacers going to Tampa Bay to face the Raptors. The Pacers come in at 33 and 38, and the Raptors come in at 27 and 44. I'm going to go with the Pacers here. Give me the Pacers to win this game on the road in Tampa Bay. Next up, we have the Charlotte Hornets going to Washington to face the Wizards. Oh, I almost sneezed there, sorry. The Hornets come in at 33 and 38, and the Wizards come in at the same record, 33 and 38. I'm going to go with the home team here. Give me the Wizards to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Phoenix Suns going to San Antonio to face the Spurs. The Suns come in at 50 and 21. And the Spurs come in at 33 and 38. I'm going to go with the Suns here. Give me the Suns to win this game on the road in San Antonio. Next up, we have the Memphis Grizzlies going to Golden State to face the Warriors. The Grizzlies come in at 38 and 33. And the Warriors come in at the same, 38 and 33. I'm going to go with the home team here. Give me the Warriors to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Houston Rockets going to Atlanta to face the Hawks. The Rockets come in at 17 and 54. And the Hawks come in at 40 and 31. I'm going to go with the home team here. Give me the Hawks to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers going to Brooklyn to face the Nets. The Cavaliers come in at 22 and 49, and the Nets come in at 47 and 24. I'm going to go with the Nets here. Give me the Nets to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Orlando Magic going to Philadelphia to face the 76ers. The Magic come in at 21 and 50, and the 76ers come in at 48 and 23. I'm going to go with the home team here. Give me the 76ers to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Miami Heat going to Detroit to face the Pistons. The Heat come in at 39 and 32, and the Pistons come in at 20 and 51. I'm going to go with the Heat here. Give me the Heat to win this game on the road in Detroit. Next up, we have the Milwaukee Bucks going to Chicago to face the Bulls. The Bucks come in at 46 and 25, and the Bulls come in at 30 and 41. I hesitated on this one first because the Bucks played today, and I wanted to pick the Bulls, but I went back to the Bucks. So I'm going with the Bucks to win this game on the road in Chicago. Next up, we have the Dallas Mavericks going to Minnesota to face the Timberwolves. The Mavericks come in at 42 and 29, and the Timberwolves the opposite. Not the opposite, but basically the opposite, 22 and 49. I'm going to go with the Mavericks here. Give me the Mavericks to win this game on the road in Minnesota. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Lakers going to New Orleans to face the Pelicans. The Lakers come in at 41 and 30, and the Pelicans come in at 31 and 40. I'm going to go with the Lakers here. Give me the Lakers to win this game on the road in New Orleans. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Clippers going to Oklahoma City to face the Thunder. The Clippers come in at 47 and 24, and the Thunder come in at 21 and 50. I'm going to go with the Clippers here. Give me the Clippers to win this game on the road in Oklahoma City. Next up, we have the Denver Nuggets going to Portland to face the Trailblazers. The Nuggets come in at 47-24, and the Trailblazers come in at 41-30. I'm going to go with the Nuggets here. Give me the Nuggets to win this game on the road in Portland. Next up, we have the Utah Jazz going to Sacramento to face the Kings. The Jazz come in at 51-20, and the Kings come in at 31-40. I'm going to go with the Jazz here. Give me the Jazz to win this game on the road in Sacramento. And that does it for the NBA. Let's move on to the MLB. The Mets are going to Tampa Bay to face the Rays. The Mets come in at 18-15, and the Rays come in at 22-19. Game 1 of this series was won by the Tampa Bay Rays by a final score of 3-2. Game 2 of this series was won by the Tampa Bay Rays by a final score of 12-5. So the Tampa Bay Rays are looking to sweep the New York Mets here. And the pitching matchup for this game is Marcus Stroman for the New York Mets and Josh Fleming for the Tampa Bay Rays. And I don't know who's favorite in this one, but give me the Mets to win this game on the road in Tampa Bay. Next up, we have the New York Yankees going to Baltimore to face the Orioles. The Yankees come in at 22-17, and the Orioles come in at 16-23. Game 1 of this series was won by the New York Yankees by a final score of 5-4. Game 2 of this series was won by the New York Yankees by a final score of 8-2. So the Yankees are looking to sweep the Orioles here. And the pitching matchup for this game is Jordan Montgomery for the New York Yankees and John Means for the Baltimore Orioles. And I don't know who's favorite in this one, but give me the Orioles to win this game at home. Next up, we have the San Francisco Giants going to Pittsburgh to face the Pirates. The Giants come in at 23-16, and the Pirates come in at 17-22. Game 1 of this series was won by the San Francisco Giants by a final score of 3-1. Game 2 of this series was won by the Pittsburgh Pirates by a final score of 3-2 in 11 innings. The Pirates walked it off in the bottom of the 11th. And Game 3 of this series was won by the Pittsburgh Pirates by a final score of 8-6. The pitching matchup for this game is Alex Wood for the San Francisco Giants and Mitch Keller for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And the San Francisco Giants are favored in this one. Give me the Giants to win this game on the road in Pittsburgh, and give me the under 8 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Phillies going to Tampa Bay to face the Blue Jays. The Phillies come in at 21-19. And the Blue Jays come in at 21-17. Game 1 of this series was won by the Philadelphia Phillies by a final score of 5-1. Game 2 of this series was won by the Toronto Blue Jays by a final score of 4-0. The pitching matchup for this game is Chase Anderson for the Philadelphia Phillies and Robbie Ray for the Toronto Blue Jays. And the Toronto Blue Jays are a favorite in this one. Give me the Blue Jays to win this game at home, and give me the under 10.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Angels going to Boston to face the Red Sox. The Angels come in at 16-22, and the Red Sox come in at 25-16. Game 1 of this series was won by the Boston Red Sox by a final score of 4-3. Game 2 of this series was won by the Boston Red Sox by a final score of 9-0. They shut out the Angels 9-0 blowout fashion. And the pitching matchup for this game is Jose Quintana for the Los Angeles Angels and Nathan Eovaldi for the Boston Red Sox. And the Boston Red Sox are a favorite in this one. Give me the Red Sox to win this game at home, and give me the under 9.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Chicago Cubs going to Detroit to face the Tigers. The Cubs come in at 18-20, and the Tigers come in at 14-25. Game 1 of this series was won by the Chicago Cubs by a final score of 4-2. Game 2 of this series was won by the Detroit Tigers by a final score of 9-8 in 10 innings. The Detroit Tigers walked it off in the bottom of the 10th inning to win the game 9-8. And the pitching matchup for this game is Kyle Hendricks for the Chicago Cubs and Matthew Boyd for the Detroit Tigers. And the Chicago Cubs are a favorite in this one, but give me upset. Give me the Tigers to win this game at home, and give me the over 8 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Atlanta Braves going to Milwaukee to face the Brewers. The Braves come in at 19-20, and the Brewers come in at 20-20. Game 1 of this series was won by the Atlanta Braves by a final score of 6-3. 6-3. Game 2 of this series was won by the Atlanta Braves by a final score of 5-1. The pitching matchup for this game is Huascar Ynoa for the Atlanta Braves and Freddie Peralta for the Milwaukee Brewers. And I don't know who's favored in this one, but give me the Brewers to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Kansas City Royals going to Chicago to face the White Sox. The Royals come in at 18-21, and the White Sox come in at 23-15. Game 1 of this series was won by the Kansas City Royals by a final score of 6-2. Game 2 of this series was won by the Chicago White Sox by a final score of 3-1. And Game 3 of this series was won by the Kansas City Royals by a final score of 5-1. The pitching matchup for this game is Brady Singer for the Kansas City Royals and Dylan Cease for the Chicago White Sox. And the Chicago White Sox are a favorite in this one. Give me the White Sox to win this game at home, and give me the under 8.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Oakland Athletics going to Minnesota to face the Twins. The Athletics come in at 24-17, and the Twins come in at 13-24. Rough start for the Minnesota Twins. Game 1 of this series was won by the Oakland Athletics by a final score of 6-1. Game 2 of this series was won by the Minnesota Twins by a final score of 5-4. The pitching matchup for this game is Chris Bassett for the Oakland Athletics and Kenta Maeda for the Minnesota Twins. And the Minnesota Twins are a favorite in this one, but give me upset. Give me the Athletics to win this game on the road in Minnesota, and give me the over 8.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Texas Rangers going to Houston to face the Astros. The Rangers come in at 18-23, and the Astros come in at 23-17. Game 1 of this series was won by the Houston Astros by a final score of 4-3 in 11 innings. The Astros walked it off in the bottom of the 11th. Game 2 of this series was won by the Houston Astros by a final score of 10-4, and Game 3 of this series was won by the Houston Astros by a final score of 6-5. So the Houston Astros are looking to 4-game sweep this series. And the pitching matchup for this game is Kyle Gibson for the Texas Rangers and Lance McCullers for the Houston Astros. This one I went back and forth on because it's two great pitchers on the mound, but I decided to go with the Houston Astros to win this game at home, and give me the over 8 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Cincinnati Reds going to Colorado to face the Rockies. The Reds come in at 18-19, and the Rockies come in at 15-25. Game 1 of this series was won by the Colorado Rockies by a final score of 13-8. Game 2 of this series was won by the Colorado Rockies by a final score of 9-6. And Game 3 of this series was won by the Cincinnati Reds by a final score of 6-5 in 12 innings. The Reds took the lead in the top of the 12th and closed it up to win the game 6-5 in 12 innings. The pitching matchup for this game is Jeff Hoffman for the Cincinnati Reds and Antonio Senzatella for the Colorado Rockies. And the Cincinnati Reds are a favorite in this one. Give me the Reds to win this game on the road in Colorado, and give me the over 11.5 runs in that game. Next up, we have the Cleveland Indians going to Seattle to face the Mariners. The Indians come in at 21-16, and the Mariners come in at 20-20. Game 1 of this series was won by the Cleveland Indians by a final score of 4-2. Game 2 of this series was won by the Seattle Mariners by a final score of 7-3, and Game 3 of this series was won by the Seattle Mariners by a final score of 7-3, same score as Game 2. The pitching matchup for this game is Shane Bieber for the Cleveland Indians, and undecided. They don't know who's going to pitch for the Mariners yet, so I'm going to go with the Indians here. Give me the Indians to win this game on the road in Seattle. Next up, we have the Miami Marlins going to Los Angeles to face the Dodgers. The Marlins come in at 17-22, and the Dodgers come in at the opposite, 22-17. Game 1 of this series was won by the LA Dodgers by a final score of 9-6. Game 2 of this series was won by the Los Angeles Dodgers by a final score of 7-0. So the Dodgers are looking to sweep the Marlins here. And the pitching matchup for this game is Pablo Lopez for the Miami Marlins and undecided for the LA Dodgers. They don't know who's going to pitch for the Dodgers yet, but that doesn't make me not pick them. I'm going to pick the Dodgers to win this game at home. Next up, we have the Washington Nationals going to Arizona to face the Diamondbacks. The Nationals come in at 15-20, and the Diamondbacks come in at 18-22. Game 1 of this series was won by the Washington Nationals by a final score of 7-2. Game 2 of this series was won by the Arizona Diamondbacks by a final score of 11-4. So the Washington Nationals won Game 1 by a final score of 17-2, which is a big blowout right there, 17-2. And then the Arizona Diamondbacks respond with a blowout of themselves, 11-4. So they said take that to the Washington Nationals. The pitching matchup for this game is Eric Fetty for the Washington Nationals and Luke Weaver for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And this one's a pick'em, so I'm going to pick the Diamondbacks to win this game at home and give me the under 9 runs in that game. And the final match of the day, we have the St. Louis Cardinals going to San Diego to face the Padres. The Cardinals come in at 23-17, and the Padres the same, 23-17. Game 1 of this series was won by the San Diego Padres by a final score of 5-4, and Game 2 of this series was won by the San Diego Padres by a final score of 13-3. So the San Diego Padres are looking to sweep the Cardinals here. And the pitching matchup for this game is Kwon-Hin Kim for the St. Louis Cardinals and Ryan Weathers for the San Diego Padres. And the San Diego Padres are a favorite in this one. Give me the Padres to win this game at home and give me the over 7 runs in that game. And that does it for today's picks for tomorrow's games. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit me the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.